Hi, welcome to Blue Mountain Yoga. I'm Diane, and today I have for you an instructional on using different types of props for yoga practice. This is Libby Lou. So today we're going to talk about blocks, straps, bolsters, and some of the products that are out there and how they can enhance yoga practice. I'm going to start with blocks. There's several different types of blocks. I have 3 sizes in my studio, and I find it beneficial to have all 3 of those sizes here. There's a larger size, and I've actually had trouble finding more of these. It's not easy to find these, and I'm not sure why. But I have 3 sizes here. This is the larger size. And you can see the differences in the sizes. This one, the black one, is taller. These 2 are the same height, but the small one is maybe 4 inches wide. We prefer using this size for most of our students here. I would love to have these, but I just haven't been able to find them. These, again, are really large. These 2 are really, really sturdy, and that's one of the reasons why that we like this one here in this studio. We have a saying here, and it goes, drop the ego and pick up the blocks, because we believe at Blue Mountain Yoga that it really helps alignment and biomechanics. So we really value use of them. These you can get, the smaller ones you can get at any big box store, Walmart, Amazon. They're really flimsy. So again, we like this middle size. We do use these smaller ones. These are great if you want to combine blocks. If you can't quite get your palm flat here, and the mate to this is too much, then you can add a smaller block to it. That's why I like having all 3 sizes in the studio, because everyone's body is different, and it really allows us to kind of pamper the student into what they need. So those are yoga blocks. Can't get enough of them. There's 3 sides to yoga blocks. There's a tall side, a medium side, and a low side. And the low side is here. We teach our students to walk the blocks down, is what we say. So perhaps if I was in a triangle, trikonasana, and my palm was here, and my practice began to grow and I got a little bit more lengthening, I would walk the block down to this side and then to this side. So we really use them a lot in that way to help biomechanics. Those are blocks. If you don't have access to blocks, you can use a very sturdy cardboard box. Those work. Little stools are great if you have a stool in the house, because it just brings the earth closer to you for your practice. So that's blocks. We recommend having 2. I'm going to move on to yoga straps. We have 3 sizes again in the studio. This is the smaller size. This size comes in a kit that'll come from a big box store. Typically you can buy a couple of the smaller blocks and the strap. We have a medium size one, and then we have a really long strap. I like to use these. I bought these recently, and again, they have a lot of utility because they're longer, so you can use them for a lot of things. I like to use them in standing poses to square the hips up. You can bind around the ankles or bind around the feet, and then bind around the hips, and it helps that student to know a little bit about feeling of the biomechanics. So I like having, I think the longer straps have a little bit more utility, just because you can use them for standing poses as well as perhaps seated poses. If you're not familiar with a strap, you can take it, like perhaps if I wanted to do a tricep lengthening here, I could drop it. I'm going to use a short one for this. I can drop it behind my back in my right hand, and then walk my left hand up the strap. And it just gives you a little bit better way to get into some of the things, like I'm working on binds right now, and it helps me with binds. You also have towels work great. Instead of a strap, a belt will work, a shirt, so you don't really have to have something this formal. All of those things work also. Next staple, of course, is the yoga blanket. We use these a lot in our studio. We will sit on them to get the hips higher than the knees. That's particularly helpful for beginning yoga students. We will put them down to pad knees, say we're going into Anjaneyasana or low lunge. The newer student may want to pad their knees. I love to roll them up and put them under the knees, like for Baddha Konasana or cobbler, you can roll them up and put them under the knee. It's softer than having a block. There's a lot of utility with just, if you don't have a big budget, just having blocks and blankets are huge because there's so much diversity with them. So we have lots of yoga blankets here. Be aware that when you go to buy them, there's some differences in how big or small they are, as well as how sturdy they are. This is one that I bought a long time ago, and it's a little bit more flimsy than these that I use and have gotten in the most recent years. They're much more sturdy. If you go online or go somewhere to buy them, look at the weight. Again, if you don't need something that's gonna last with a lot of use from a studio practice, then you can get some of the more not as sturdy. You don't have to have these. You can use a blanket off your bed, one that's in your closet, for the same type of utility for home practice. They work great. We're gonna move on to bolsters. Love bolsters here at Blue Mountain Yoga. People will walk in for a power class and they'll say, is this a bolster class? So we have two kinds here. We actually have big bolsters and small bolsters. I have two types of big bolsters here, and I'm gonna show you the difference. This one is more square than this one. I like this one better, and they're both covered with canvas, and that's been very helpful to us because of the use of them. I think it's important to have the canvas. It's very sturdy. I like the square one better because the round one is a little bit less unstable, and it may make beginning yoga students feel uncomfortable. So I'm partial to this one, but I have both. But as I've added these, I've added the square ones. We have small bolsters. We call them baby bolsters. I actually got the first one because I had a teenager coming into the studio practicing, and then we liked them so much that we bought more. I have a canvas one that looks like this. And then I have one that's a little bit more flimsy, so to speak. It's taller. It's made of foam here. And they both have covers that you can zip off and wash. I tend to like this one, the smaller one with the canvas. It just feels sturdier than this one. We use these quite a bit. I like to have them in a restorative class because you can take the big bolster, and let's say that we do a caterpillar and we put our legs out. I like to encourage my students to build this up so that they can drape supported over the bolster. So this just adds another option for them. And then also, if you're using bolsters for restorative, you have so much versatility with your blankets, because if you don't have a baby bolster, you can just stack your blankets up, and then also stack bolsters up. So that's the bolsters we have in the studio now. Currently, I'm looking at getting some other different types, but have not gotten there. I also have, what I'm sitting on is a meditation pillow, and I love this. It's so simple, and I got these bolsters, some of them from, again, big box stores, from Amazon. Some of them came from Walmart. Just look at the weight, and you can kind of judge some of the quality. This is a meditation pillow, and I love this little pillow. There's some pretty expensive meditation equipment on the internet, but I like this a lot. I also will sit on a bolster or sit on blankets when I meditate, but this just really grounds me, and I like it. So that's available to you also if you're looking for meditation stuff. Very, very, very helpful. One of the things I did not mention with the blocks, we have these wedges. If you have students that come in and they have wrist issues, you can take the wedges and place their hands like if you're in tabletop, and it'll take some of the pressure off. They're versatile because you can face them this way or this way. That's another option just with newer students. Also, you can also use a blanket that way if you just roll the blanket up and place it on the hands on the blanket. You can do the same thing as with the wedges. Just gives us another tool to help students, because again, our bodies are so different. Next thing I'm going to talk about is eye bags. Eye bags are awesome. We use these in our restorative classes and some of our young classes to place over the eyes in long holes. And these are actually fennel. The person that made them for me put little fennel in them, and she made these wonderful pillowcases like that you can take off and wash. Very creative person. And these are nice because the fennel in them is loose, so you can separate the middle of it and then place it on the bridge of the nose. And I find that that helps with, sometimes if you have something really heavy over the nose, it'll give somebody a headache and hurt their nose. So these are great because you can place the part that has no weight in it over the nose. I also have one called a piccolo eye bag, and that looks like this. It's a very narrow eye bag. It actually has the seam down the center that keeps the weight off the bridge of the nose. So I recommend that if you get any type of eye bags, get them such that there's not all this weight here, because that will make the students uncomfortable. Last thing I'm going to talk about is the sandbags. And again, I had a person that made these. These are actually rice bags. And she did such a great job. So these are about 10 pounds, and they have rice in them. And they have, again, she made these wonderful little pillowcases to go over them that we can wash. We use these a lot in our restorative classes. You can also buy a actual sandbag off of some of the websites, the big box stores. They're more expensive. And I like these because they just wash easier. And we'll take them and place them over the student's hips during a shavasana, or if they're in a child's pose, maybe place them over the back. It just adds something that you can give a little bit of weight to for your restorative classes. So that's just a real quick instructional on different types of props that can be used. And again, we love props here. We just really feel like it enhances our students' practice and makes them a little bit more comfortable. So thank you for joining us today at Blue Mountain Yoga. I'm going to put my hands on my heart and say namaste and have an awesome day.